Hey there, my friend. I want you to pay attention as you're watching today's episode of The Daily Shortcut, because as you do that now, I'm going to walk you inside the human mind. As you're listening to the wind blow and as you're paying attention, I'm going to teach you the way that the human consciousness interprets language and the background structure of it. And today, as you realize that the words that you're speaking matter to your future and how you live right now, you're going to begin to change them in a way that creates powerful results in your life that you want and will lead you down the path that you desire to take in your life as you now decide today with me to step into a new future. See, the first time that I was introduced to the power of words officially was in 2002, and that was when I was a distributor in the Amway Corporation, and I heard a speech by a distributor. He was a leader named Bill Britt. This is in a room of 15,000 people, an auditorium in Long Beach, California. And as the crowd was roaring, and I was just being amazed at how gigantic it was, they were applauding. I'd actually never been in an auditorium that big because I grew up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and they don't have them. But I remember something. I remember squinting to try to make out the features on this guy's face as he was parading on the stage in front of me, leaning forward in my chair in the back of the room. And this is what I heard him say. He said, "If you want to change your life, change the way that you speak." Bill thundered from the podium with the prowess of a charismatic Southern Baptist preacher on a crusade. I don't know if you've ever seen T.D. Jakes preach. It was kind of like that, but not black. But I remember as he was describing the future, and as he was describing how to create things with your mind and your heart and your words, he was talking about bending the world, the power of your words to create dominion through the creative power that the human man and woman are born with in the world. Power that you actually have inside of you right now to create the world and the life that you want. And I remember sitting there and I began to think about how I was speaking then into material existence a life that at the time had struggle, it had poverty, and simultaneously, for some reason, I was still happy all the time. But here's what happened. I began to wonder about the future and also what was possible for me to create. And in the back of the room, I remember standing up and I shouted, "Someday, somehow, some way, Bill Britt, I'm going to be on the stages of the world with the light shining in my eyes as I speak, living in the beaches of the world. That's it, period." I remember talking to my brother about that story because he was there with me, and he reminded me we actually used to sneak into those rooms after everybody left and give speeches to each other in empty auditoriums, kind of sneaking past the security or bribing them in the middle of the night. But I want you to fast forward. Think about that guy in the back of the room. Go to the future. In 2007, I'm in Alaska. And it was the springtime. I was actually building a business then called Agile Enterprises, and I was doing that by home meetings, and I was doing it by hotel meetings. And at the time we had a meeting room in Gaio's restaurant we'd meet at every Thursday night in downtown Fairbanks. And one day we were doing a little training at my friend Jimmy Cash's house. His actual last name was Cash. And we were talking about the future and we were setting goals. Now, Jimmy was always a dreamer. He dreamed of a better and a more powerful future for himself, for his wife, for his kids. And I remember as we were talking, Jimmy began to speak about how he wanted to go down to Bora Bora one day with his wife. And he wanted to see the full moon rising over the ocean as his feet were dangling off the dock of a bungalow at the beach. And he said, "That's it. We're going to do it. Let's all go down to Bora Bora. We're going to write it down right now." And then Jimmy actually pulled out a card and he wrote it down. He said something along the lines of this: "It's 2011 and I agree that I will take a trip to Bora Bora. That's it, period." And I was staring at that card and I looked at it. I was actually just telling this story earlier today in a restaurant with some of my staff here in Costa Rica. And what I did is I looked at it, I imagined it, and I signed my name as I dreamed it inside my mind. And I spoke it inside of my heart and imagined a future walking in power, creating the life that I want to create in a new kind of world. So I signed that in 2007, and then right now we're 2016. We're going to continue with my stories. And as I was doing that, here's what happened. I remembered Bill. I remember him thundering from the stage in 2002 as I spoke those words. See, there's a science to why words work the way that they work inside the human mind and also change our experience of the world. And when we use them right, we are going to experience a reality that's going to be rooted in a new perception because of the way that consciousness reacts with space and time, which truthfully not very many people understand, and none of us really understand the impact of all the things that we say and do on the world around us. Maybe it's something like quantum mechanics and we're affecting subatomic particles like you see in some new agey type movies about The Secret, and maybe it's not. The reality is we're not yet in the space of consciousness and intelligence to discover the true nature of reality and how reality bends with the unfolding of the human consciousness, the human mind. But even though we don't understand it, here's what I do understand. I understand that language is a powerful thing. And I was just on the phone with my brother, William Wood, and we were talking about the power of words and how they act on the human mind, body, and heart. There's a thing in linguistics called surface structure and deep structure, and it has to do with the way that the brain interprets language. And I think the way that they explain it in linguistics isn't easy to understand like it's going to be after I explain it in this video right now. See, understanding this is actually going to help you understand the minds and the hearts of the people that you work with, and also how to help them to change more powerfully on the inside and create more powerfully on the reality on the outside. So what surface structure is in language is it's the audible, the written, and the grammatical structure of words, of sentences, of paragraphs, of the way that we communicate. What you hear that resonates a series of meanings across everyone that's understandable to everyone who's fluent in that language and understands those particular words that you're speaking, like the words that I'm speaking right now. Deep structure, however, is different. And just like as an iceberg has an unseen layer beneath the surface of just the peak of the iceberg coming out of the ocean, that's the way that deep structure works inside every human being. Only in this case, the tip of the iceberg might be the same, it might be the same word, yet the underlying structure and the way that we interpret that word, that sentence, that paragraph is actually different, and it's powerful and it's beautiful or maybe terrifying depending on who the person is and the way that they represent that word. What does that mean? Well, there's a useful saying that was actually coined by Alfred Korzybski and often repeated by practitioners of neurolinguistics programming, and he said this, and he's the one that coined this phrase. He said, "The map is not the territory," which simply means what you see in your own mind and heart is not reality. It's simply an internal map of it formed by your own neural connections, your own memories, your own values, your own beliefs, your own desires, and the way your brain interprets through those filters. Meaning right now, as you're watching this video, you're not actually seeing this video and the computer in front of you. You're seeing your brain's interpretation of what's actually there, which is a fraction of the energy that's actually there and a fraction of what you're actually experiencing right now. And the beautiful thing is that everyone who sees the artistry of this video is going to perceive it completely differently in their own beautiful way because of the way that deep structure works. And everyone who watches this, just like you, is making powerful decisions that are different from the very same words, and they're getting different meaning from the very same words, the same sounds, the same images on the screen. But they're experiencing it internally differently. See, everyone who's paying attention to this is actually paying attention to different things, just like you're paying attention to different things right now. Someone watching this video, they might be paying attention to the inflection of my voice as I speak these words, and they might pay attention when I speed up or when I slow down, if I quiet my voice, or if I get louder, or if I speed up, or if I start shaking my arms, maybe they start paying attention to them. And yet another person might be paying attention carefully to the way that I crinkle my forehead as I'm speaking. Maybe they're even wondering if inside my forehead lies a key to hypnosis and going into a deep trance. Maybe they're paying attention to the sides of the page, the design, the way that the words look above the video, or maybe they're paying attention to their breathing. See, when you watch this video, and as you're paying attention, hearing those words, and those words are then passed through a series of automatic internal filters and meaning sequences to form the way that you understand this sentence and what I'm teaching now, your brain actually will change that information and customize the experience for what you need to hear at the time. And as you're hearing it, your mind might make the music in the background quieter. Maybe there's distracting sounds in the background, you haven't even noticed them. Maybe you haven't even noticed the sound of the wind. Or maybe it makes my voice a little bit louder, or maybe the music gets louder in the background that you didn't notice a second ago just because I mentioned it. And it did just do one of those things, didn't it? See, as you're paying attention, your mind will filter out certain things and filter in certain things into your perception. It will change things that you're not paying attention to. Like, I don't know if you've ever been walking down the road and you've seen a snake, but you looked at it and it turned into a stick because your mind distorted it because you weren't paying attention to the full picture. Or when you were watching this, was the video guy just adjusting the sound just slightly, or did you just imagine that the music got louder than softer? Do you really know? What I want you to understand right now is, if you see everything, even the word see has a series of internal filters, just like the word filter. Because although we all understand those words, we learned those words and how to understand them a little bit differently in our own lives. For some of you, when I say see, you might have thought of the ocean. For some of you, when I said see, you might have thought of an eye. For some of you, those filters are seen as an image that appears just briefly in the back of your consciousness. Maybe, for example, when you hear the word filter, you're thinking of a laundry filter you saw as a child when you were talking with your mom and she was cleaning your clothes. As you were playing and asked innocently, "What's that?" And she said, "It's a filter." But maybe others of you, as I say the word filter, the way that you understood that word the first time is you think about a part of a car, because that's the part of the car that cleans the oil, and you know that from watching your father maybe when you were a kid and he was working on a car, and you said, "What's that?" And he said, "That is an oil filter." Yet filter is just a single word, or is it? See, every word that you speak creates automatic unconscious representations in people's minds, and they can't stop that from happening because they have to do that to understand it. See, every word that you speak creates automatic internal representations in people's unconscious minds and in the conscious minds of the people that you're speaking with, your prospects, your customers. And as you're speaking them, they change your own mind, they change your own heart, they change your own body and the way that you feel about yourself and others as you're speaking, whether that's what you want or whether that's not what you want. And how you communicate and the way that you create your own perceptions is whose choice? It's yours. See, that background processing that you're doing, which is automatic and it's unconscious, is the deep structure of meaning. Meaning your own internal series of images, series of thoughts, sounds, and emotions that are part of your own map of reality. And I want you to remember something, that map you have of reality you formed as a child, it's unique completely to you. And other people, they're not like you, and they perceive those same things differently. And those deep structures are changed, and they're also enlivened through the use of language, whether you're doing it on purpose or not, whether it's creating good things or not, which means that everything that you speak has an effect on everyone you say it to and everyone who hears its experience of reality. Even if that's not what you're trying to do, you are doing that. And if you're gonna do that, what should you do with this new deep structure of meaning and your artful use of it? How about we empower others to step into a new, more powerful, more useful map of reality by paying attention to our own words and making those words better all the time and more powerful and more enlivening. You can do that right now by continuing to simply attend each episode of The Daily Shortcut and download your 3 powerful bonuses and empower your life just a little bit more each day. Can't you? So in 2012, I was standing on a stage in Anaheim, California, in front of around 3,000 people who paid to hear me speak, barefoot, just like I am now on the stage. My favorite movie at the time, and still is one of my favorites, was V for Vendetta. I don't know if you've seen it. It's up there literally my top 5, maybe my top 3 movies. So what I did was I ordered 3,000 Guy Fawkes masks to give to everyone in the room, and I put up a Guy Fawkes mask on my face, and I gave a speech about freedom with 3,000 Guy Fawkes masks in the room. Which I don't know if you've ever tried to give a speech with a mask on before, but it's not like the movies. If you do it, you need to test the acoustics. You need to check the sound first because the mask might block the sound. I didn't know it till later when I was giving that speech, my words were actually being muffled by the mask, and nobody understood a word that I said, but it didn't matter because they were so pumped up. They were all cheering because it was so awesome to see a guy wearing a Guy Fawkes mask in a room of people with Guy Fawkes masks. But here's the thing, and as I was standing there, I remembered standing in the back of the room in 2002 listening to Bill Britt as he spoke, and I rose to my feet and I was standing next to my brother William Wood, who you hear in the Daily Shortcuts, and I stood up and I claimed the reality then that I was now standing in, tearing a fabric through space-time as the past became the future and the future becomes the past as we now step into bigger things even still. It was my birthday, May 17th, 2011. I remember clearly that day and that night. I had won an affiliate contest without checking the prizes, and they started hassling me near the end of 2010 to claim my prize, for taxes of course, because they needed to get rid of the money so they didn't have to pay tax on it for that year. And I didn't actually check what I'd won, and so I asked the owners of the company, so what is it that I won? And this is what they did. They had their assistant send me an email, and my mind just shot back into the past, into 2007. Where I was in the past was I was holding a postcard at my friend Jimmy Cash's house in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I remember reading it, and it said, in 2011, I'm in Bora Bora. And I was sitting there and I began to cry. Because on my birthday, May 17th, months later, I was staring at the full moon in the sky, my feet dangling into the Pacific Ocean over the bungalow I was staying in, and I looked at the lights in the sky, and was I there? Or am I still holding the postcard in 2007, dreaming of a new kind of future that I walked into later? See, when you understand reality creation, the way that your mind bends things to create your future, the past will become your future as the future becomes the past, as you decide now to change the map on the inside with the words that you're speaking with your heart and mind. I want you to remember something. Your words are powerful. Remember, what you say matters. It matters to you, your kids, your wife. It matters to your future. So what are you going to do with that information? Well, for me, I decide I'm going to speak life into people, positivity, wealth, and abundance. I'm going to create a future that I can't even imagine yet because it's so big. And I'm going to do it. That's it. Period. Just like sitting outside my bungalow looking at the moon, remembering the card that I had signed 2007. You can be into a new future right now by deciding to claim it and deciding to speak your future into reality and believe that you have the power to create great things. And here is what I want you to understand right now. I want you to understand that you are a powerful human being, and I want to give you some tools today to help you become more powerful as that leader, as that visionary that you've always dreamed of being, yet now are projecting yourself into the future, standing on a stage, putting your feet outside of a bungalow, maybe stepping into the new car that you desire to drive. Or maybe you're just unlocking the door to the new house that you've just bought with cash from the money that you've made, from deciding to change your perception of yourself, of others, of the world, of reality around you. And so here's what I've done. If you just scroll down on this page, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to tell me what you learned today in the comments and how you're going to change from it. And those of you who are watching this right now, if you write the best comment, we're going to send you a book, and it's actually a book that will introduce you to the power of words. It's called Hung by the Tongue. I'm going to have to tell my assistant that that's the book. Jose, if you could remember that and tell Sandy. Hung by the Tongue is what we're going to send you, and it talks about the power of words. First book I read on the subject, and it's short and really good. And write a comment and tell me how you're going to change. Tell me about a new future you're going to create. And then, here's what I want you to do. Put your email into the form, hit the button, and on the next page, I want you to download your free bonuses today. There's 3 of them. Number 1 is you're going to get an audio of this episode. You can listen to this several times, and I want you to listen to it and listen to how I change time through the power of my words in this episode. And then the second thing that you're going to do is you're going to download a PDF transcription of this episode where you can actually read it, but in that transcription is not just a transcription, it's a workbook. I encourage you to print that workbook, to fill it out by hand, and to cement these ideas into your mind and to create a new future. And as you're setting goals, read them and allow yourself to feel and project yourself into that future as you see them inside your mind and heart. And then the third bonus, of course, is I'm going to help you make some money. If you want to travel to Bora Bora or be in front of crowds of people, no matter what your goal is, I can help you do that through the Total Shortcut system. And you can get it on the next page. Just enter in your email, watch the video on the next page, claim your 3 bonuses, and get started now. Let's lock arms and let's create new futures with abundance, peace, prosperity, lifting people up and letting them rise into the powerful human beings that they and you have the capacity to be as you stand up and claim your future and say, I will be on the beaches of the world. That's it, period. And you watch as time, space, and reality bend from the creative power that you have inside, because you, my friend, are the power. I love you. I appreciate you. Write a comment, and I'll see you on the next page. And I'll see you in the next episode of The Daily Shortcut. I'm personally looking forward to it.